The peace of Jesus be with you all, my dear social media friends. It's great to be with you on this 32nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. And our theme is Alive in God. You know, all of us are puzzled and troubled over the very basic question in our life. This question concerns all of us, and it really troubles us at times, and especially at critical times when there's a tragedy or when there's a problem or when we are really seeking an answer to this basic question in our life. What is that question? Is this life the sum all of all that I am and will be? Or is there something more after this life? This is the basic question, and all of us are troubled by it. And if you really give yourself a chance, you will definitely be troubled also by this question. If this life is the sum all of everything in our life, then why don't we just do what we want and do what we want when we want and how we want in our life? Is life just work and looking after our health and worrying over our future and being troubled by our own death? There must be something more. All people, either people of faith or people of no faith, they have to find their own answer, but have no definitive answer and conclusion. The people in the gospel today are also trying to find an answer to this basic question, this basic human question of whether we have a life after this life. This basic human search, this basic human problem of whether we have a life after this life. So let's listen to the story. It may sound ludicrous in this story that I'm going to read from the gospel, but let's listen to it because Jesus has an answer to this question, to this basic question. So the question is, am I willing to accept Jesus' answer to this basic human question? So let's listen to the gospel. And the gospel is taken from Luke chapter 20, verses 27 to 38. Some Sadducees, those who say that there is no resurrection, approached Jesus and they put this question to him. Master, we have it from Moses in writing that if a man's married brother dies childless, the man must marry the widow to raise up children for his brother. Well then, there were 7 brothers. The first, having married a wife, died childless. The second and then the third married the widow. And the same with all the 7, they died, leaving no children. Finally, the woman herself died. Now at the resurrection, to which of them will she be wife, since she had been married to all 7? Here's Jesus' reply. The children of this world take wives and husbands, but those who are judged worthy of a place in the other world and in the resurrection from the dead do not marry because they can no longer die, for they are the same as the angels, and being the children of the resurrection, they are sons of God. And Moses himself implies that the dead rise again in the passage about the bush where he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now he is God, not of the dead, but of the living. For to him all people are in fact alive. See, here then is the story. On the surface, it sounds stupid, it sounds strange and far-fetched. But underlying the story is a deeper desire for eternal life. Here is the basic question then being asked. After this life, will I be alive in God? And this is the theme of our meditation. But how do I know that there is a God? How do I know that I will live forever? Here then is the answer if you feel you are really searching, really troubled, and want an explicit answer, a definitive answer. Jesus is God Himself become one with us. God made us in His image and will not let that image fade into oblivion. His Son Jesus has come into this world to give us life, to give us that life everlasting. And Jesus tells us the truth. The truth will set us free. That truth is now setting us free as you and I listen to us, listen to Jesus, and accept Jesus as the truth. And that truth is setting us free even right now. Jesus, who is both human and divine, will not tell us a lie. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And anyone who comes to Him will have eternal life. Jesus, since He is the truth, since He is the way, since He is the life, let us cling to Him. Let us hold on to Him. He is the answer to this basic question in our life. He has told us clearly today in the Gospel. Let me read it again. He says, Moses himself implies that the dead rise again in the passage about the bush, where he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now He is God not of the dead, but of the living. For to Him all people, in fact, are alive. So we are alive in Jesus. Now He is God not of the dead, but of the living. For to Him and in Him we are, in fact, all alive. Here then is the definitive answer to that restless human question, that restless human heart that seeks to live not only here in this world, but forever. Here is the answer to all our doubts about life after this life, and that is in God. All of us are alive. What is our response? What is your response and my response to this affirmation? Number one, that we need to live lives of love and compassion here, right now. Not lives of desperation, lives of joy and happiness, because Christ is our anchor. That our lives must already manifest that hope and joy and live caring and sharing with one another. 3, that our life here is not only all about building on our own security and building our own security here, but really building our real security, who is God, in whom all of us will live forever. 4, that we live godly lives here. Our lives must be oozing with God's love, sharing His peace, and respecting one another, loving one another, and caring for one another, for every human being. 5, that our lives are lives of hope and encouragement, giving each other the best of examples of God's loving presence, abiding presence among us. So as a conclusion, let us welcome Jesus into our lives. And as we come to the end of this liturgical year in Cycle C of our Sunday readings, here's a beautiful invitation for us to accept Jesus more deeply, more personally into our lives. He has taught us how to live so that all of us might be alive in God for all eternity. Here is a chance. Come on, believe it, accept it, and live forever in Jesus Christ. For in Jesus, all of us are alive in God, not only here and now, today, but every day for the rest of eternity. Come, join us For in Jesus, all of us are alive.